Test. Can everybody hear me? I had to do that. Uh, well, good morning, everybody. This is great. Small, intimate gathering. This is good. Um, this morning we're gonna explore the deep things associated with fasting. Um, this is a powerful tool that it's a subject that's not talked about very much. Um, so today we're going to try to expound a little bit on it as far as instruction, how to do it, how not to do it, how to break it, just some fundamental aspects of how powerful this weapon can be. Um, we're about to enter into the new year, and many people fast, starting the new year in January, especially. Just a new beginning of consecration, and also our times, our desperate times of the world troubles going on, definitely call for this added devotion. There are several ways to fast. We're going to talk about some of those this morning. Um, so if y'all don't know it, eating is a habit. It's a habit that's hard to break. Um, Reminds me of the two old farmers they were talking about how much their mules were eating, and one farmer told the other one, he said, "Well, he said I'm training mine, to not eat at all." He said, "Really?" He goes, "Well, how's that coming?" He goes, "Well," he said, "right when I just about got him trained," he said, "he up and died." So that don't humor. Uh, but anyway, first off, God would never ask you to do anything to harm your body, especially His temple. Your body is His temple. Um, you will not die. It's a wonderful tool. It's a weapon. Um, it is proven that fasting actually improves your health. Um, we won't get into all that this morning, but basically, it's when your digestive system actually goes on vacation. One of the few times that actually can take a break. Um, a noted Greek physician, Athenaeus, summed up fasting with just a few words. He said, "Fasting cures diseases, dries up bodily tumors, puts demons to flight, gets rid of impure thoughts, makes the mind clearer, and the heart pure, the body sanctified, and raises man to the throne of God." And those are powerful words from a physician, um, who knows all aspects, the physical and spiritual, of this. Isaiah 58 explains to us the value of and the benefits of fasting. Y'all would like to read that chapter? It's very insightful. Um, Jonah 3 and 5. I should have wrote those up on the board. I felt it. Even the entire nation believed God and declared a fast, from the greatest to the least. Neither beast, herd, or flock ate or drank. So all your animals, your children, even fasts. And the nation was ultimately spared. My little granddaughter heard I was fasting, and she didn't quite know what all that was about. So just briefly explained it to her. Well, she wanted to fast with me, and she did. She did. They're never too young. They're never too young to fast. It's a beautiful thing. It's part of our worship. Um, Fasting is a sacred time of affliction, afflicting the soul before God, and a glorious time spending time in His presence. Um, Plus, your mind is open to new dimensions in the spirit after you bring your flesh under subjection through this. there's many different types of fasts. Um, the Daniel's fast, the 21-day fast. Um, to be truthful, I never could do the Daniel's fast. I've tried it several times, and I was more worried about what I could eat or couldn't eat, and I could eat more of this but less of that, and it was more of a distraction to me. Fasting to me is fasting without food. That's how I categorize my fast. A lot of people cannot, and that's well understood, due to medical reasons. But really, fasting, it's the indulgences of life. The pleasurable things you enjoy. You can fast. There was an older gentleman that went to this church years ago. Still remember him. We called him Chief, and he could not fast. He could not do without food, but he loved his coffee. Oh, that he looked forward to it every morning. And he told the Lord, he goes, I'm gonna. He said, this last cup. He said, this will be my last cup of coffee. And he did. He didn't drink another cup of coffee the remainder of his life. He just, and that was a perpetual fast that he did. A mighty man of God, precious, precious man. Um, there's an absolute fast where you don't eat and you don't drink, and those are usually short fasts. They're incredible unless you have supernatural abilities, but and those have to be done carefully. Um, there's water only fasts where you just drink water, and there's juice fasts. Those are very popular. It gives you a little something to go on during the day. Um, but God will accept, what you offer Him, what you give Him. Um, Fasting should be exciting, really, for us. Where you can't have waited, you can't wait for the appointed time to start. I've even started a fast earlier than I was supposed to because I was just anxious to get started, see what the Lord had for me. Um, Fasting basically for me, it thins the buffer between flesh and spirit, and the thinner the buffer becomes, the easier that you can hear from God, know His thoughts, hear His heartbeat. Prayer becomes so easy. It just becomes so easy, and you're just ushered in to the presence of the Lord. It seemed like with just minimal effort. Um, you immediately go into deep prayer, because the flesh is so less prevalent. Um, Sometimes we go to prayer and it's just a struggle. It's just sometimes our mind is just scattered and we're struggling to focus and clarity. Uh, it seems like each additional day you fast, that just becomes easier and easier and easier, and prayer just flows. But some facts on fasting that I jotted down. In the Bible, uh, it was a mandatory task that was a normal function of everyday living. It was an integral part of the Judeo system and was considered a basic part of their service to God. And as I mentioned earlier, when the king proclaimed a fast, everybody fasted. You better not be caught eating. Imagine that nowadays. Um, but it's important to remember, for me anyway, each fast is different. Your body reacts differently to each fast. Some fast you don't really get hungry. I mean, for the first day, sometime even the second day, and some are a struggle from the very start. I remember Brother Cole one time uh, was fasting. We were talking about it, and he said, well, fasting takes practice, and that It sounded funny at the time, but it's true. It's true. If you know, if you have a consistent day every week that you fast, it becomes a lifestyle for you, and it that practice when you do come into a extended fast, feels the Lord wants you to do an extended fast, you're prepared for it, you're equipped for it. Um, how many times during the day that we forget to eat? We get busy, and then that evening you're like, oh, I ain't even eating today, you know? You're like, well, you know. But boy, if you call a fast day, 8:30, 8:30. Like, okay, I'm into this 2 hours. You know? I'm getting weak. Oh, that pulse. I don't know now, man. I'll be able to do this. But I remember my first 3 day fast. Man, you know, I was like 3 days. I'd never done it before, and it was a big deal. It's a big deal to me. And so had an issue in my life. I was praying about it, just couldn't break through it. I said, I'm gonna fast. I'm gonna fast. So it just so happened that the third day was going to be Tuesday. I said, Tuesday night, that's perfect. We'll be in church, you know. So, I mean, I dressed my best. I sat on the front pew, boy. And I mean, you know, we went through song service. I was like, oh, when you going to do it, Lord? My answer's coming tonight. And then the preaching, you know, song service ended, preaching started, altar called, and I was getting worried. I said, well, you know, and then service basically ended. I mean, things started dying down. People started talking. I was like, well, what happened? I thought this was going to work. Man, you know? And I was so disappointed. I remember just, I was like, so I didn't move. I just sit there on the front pew, you know. And all of a sudden, from the back of the church, there was a voice rang out. All they said was my name. And everybody was looking around like, what? And I shot off of that pew like I'd sit on a straight pin. I was just electrified. Just my name. Just my name. And that lady was Dorothy DeMary. And I shouted. I fell down and I rolled. And I rolled. I dressed my best just for rolling. I wanted to roll in my best. And first time I'd ever rolled. But I'd roll till I'd hit something. And then I'd turn around, I'd roll the other way. I'd run into somebody, or I'd come back and I'd roll this way. But I got my answer, you know. So that was a big deal. That really set the course of how, you know, God does know when we fast. He does answer our prayers, and He honors our efforts. Um, uh, Brother Cisco, when he came to this church, he called a church-wide 7 day fast, and I was like, I was excited about it, but I knew it was 3 plus 3 plus 1. I did the math, and I thought, we're going to do it. I'm going to do it, you know. And it was just a spiritual tenacity that I was going to push through. I was going to do this, and we did, and we all survived. The ones that did it, you know, and again, everybody has special circumstances. Um, and later years on, Lord really impressed me to go on a fast, and an extended fast. And it was in the dead of the summer, and at work, our control room was, you had to walk 2 flights of stairs, you know, to even get to the control room. And I was up and down all day. And I remember I would start up the stairs, and I'd get so dizzy, I'd hold on to the rail, you know, and I'd get so mad at my flesh, like, come on, get with it, you know. What are you doing? Get with it. You can do this. And I guess I don't know if that's a myth or something about fasting, but you're supposed to stay active, exercise even, stay active. Don't lay back in the recliner with a blood pressure thing on your arm. It's okay. You can just go on about your daily, you know. Um, but anyway, I just you know that God is it's motivation because you know that you are crucifying the flesh. There's your little cross I drew up there. But you are crucifying the flesh, and your hardest days fasting, the days you just struggle. Lord, I just don't know if I can do this. Remember that the greater the sacrifice, the greater the victory, the greater the reward. So the hungrier you get, it's a good thing. Hunger will be your friend. It's the friend that sticketh closer than a brother. I promise you. But but uh but anyway, and consistent fasting, I think, uh, is a better way of fasting than do one or two extended fasts a year and then not, you know. God likes that consistency in our prayer life, our fasting, reading the Bible. Again, I've said it before, that's your three-legged stool. There's three things that are so powerful, and one upholds the other. You can pray without fasting, but you can't fast without praying. Okay, that's just a rule of, of fasting. Fasting is a distraction of the soul, basically. Um, Things I do, and it's just what works for me. Um, I always start my fast in the evenings, right after I eat my evening meal, because your first 8 hours you're skating, you're full, you know. So I'd rather sleep than you get up the next morning and you're already digging in. You're already digging in. There's no fast breakfast. So, but each time that I fast, if it's longer than the previous fast, it's like entering into uncharted waters with God. Where's He going to take me this time? I had such a wonderful, results last time I fasted, but this time it's going to be a little longer. What new things is He going to show me and reveal? It's exhilarating when God starts showing you the deeper things in the Spirit. Um, Something else, I don't keep up with how many days I'm fasting. That's just as distracting as wondering what you can eat, what you can't eat. You get lost in the details. Say, I'm starting this date, I'm ending on this date, rather than saying, okay, this is day number two. Evening, let's see, I started, no, I started, so, okay, this is day two. Oh, this is day three. Do day three. And it's not, we're losing the whole picture when we get into that. Um, But each day to me, it's almost like, and I love analogies. I can't help it. But it's like the first day you enter into a room, got a big number one on the room. You walk in, and there's things in that room that you can partake of during that day. The other side of the room, there's a big door with a number two on it. You can't go through number two door until you finish number one. Then when you go in there, there's new things in door number two, and you get to partake of those things, and they're wonderful. Getting through, your second day, and then your third day, there's your big number three, and it starts building an excitement. What's God gonna do tomorrow? If He did this today, and it's like it feeds you, and it's pulling you in, and you're growing, and you're just getting excited about fasting. I mean, it can happen. Um, day three, like a Brother Cole had a little recipe. He'd say your first day fast no water. Second day you fast limited water, and the third day as much water as you can drink. Therefore, all the way out, drink as much water. Water is so important. But like day 3, brings you into deeper prayer. And 3-day fast is the most popular. If you go beyond that, you start expecting God to move. This is day 4, day 4. God raised Lazarus in 4 days. Maybe he'll raise something dead in my life in 4 days. So many types and shadows in the Bible, with numbers. Um, day 5, just lock yourself away. More Bible reading. Um, day 6, prayer intensifies, and ask God to show you visions and give you thoughts that good and well didn't come from you. Day 7, rejoicing, Thanksgiving, 7-day fast. Wow, present that before the Lord, and you're coming into alignment. Each day your flesh is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And you want to get to that point to where there's no buffer between you and God. You know, you can be offline of a fence post and you're still not in alignment. But all of a sudden, when you get in perfect alignment, things just flow in the spirit. The dimensions open up to your mind, and you realize you're on ground that you've never been to before. There's been a new sensitivity, a new keenness, a new sharpness in the spirit. It's just a beautiful thing. Um, I in day 8, and we'll stop there. But day 8 is 8 in the Bible is a number of new beginnings, spiritual dawn. You know, uh, you make it to day 8. I mean, all things become new, and it's and this sounds elementary, but it's true. Fast one day at a time. Don't look at day 4 when you're on day 1. Just fast one day at a time. At the end of that day, you're going to start the next day, one day at a time. And it helps. You can walk around with a toothpick in your mouth, if it'll help. Um, but just, yeah, it just, I don't know. And I know some people in here have actually done that, know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been in an airplane, you take off, man, it's just like, I mean, in just 60 seconds. I mean, the houses are so small, and the freeways, they're just ants, and you're like, wow, It's kind of like that way when you fast. I told you I like the analogies. Um, you're sitting there looking out the window, but when you start flying with the Lord and you get higher and higher, your problems look smaller and smaller till they're covered up by the clouds. That's where you want to get, where your problems are covered up by the clouds and you can't see it. And you're just there for the ride from there on out. Um, Doing good. Fasting is usually brought about because of a situation or a certain circumstance that we need to seek the mind of God on. We usually beforehand decide how many days we're going to fast. I'm going to go on a whatever day fast, um, and that's good. But sometimes, um, you know, even bereavement, the loss of a job, uncertain future, um, health issues that just hunger's not there. You're in such a distraught case, and fasting is such a awesome tool. But this is usually the hardest fast to do, meaning that it's brought on by life's issues. But the second way to fast is when God lays a fast on your heart and your soul. Fasting is for all men, good times and bad times, not just bad times. Just wanting to get closer to Him. It seems like He makes the fasting so much easier. And before I start a fast, if I start feeling that I need to fast and I keep eating, it's like you feel guilty. You're like, oh, you should be eating this. Your food doesn't really taste that great. It's just this feeling of guilt. God is pulling me. He's nudging me. He wants me to get closer to Him. you know, and if you just keep ignoring that feeling, that tug will fade and it will disappear, and you'll never know what God had planned for you. Um, Food should really become an aggravation to you at that point, and that's when almost you can't wait to go on a fast. You're like, no, it's not time. There'll always be time to eat a steak. There'll always be time for that, but you can't always fast, but you can always eat. You know, um, but anyway, um, when God puts a number of days in your life and impresses you with a number, I want you to fast so many days. You know, don't be scared of that number because He's going to help you make it. He's going to help you make it. Um, and when I enter into this type of fast, I pray for the spirit of fasting to come upon you. That's sometimes when I'm having a struggle praying, I'll pray for the spirit of prayer to settle on me or the spirit of fasting. It just makes it so much easier to just let that spirit settle on you, and focus comes, clarity comes. You just seem to break through whatever brick wall that you're up against. Um, it's just the extra, the strength and determination, um, that makes that. When you talk about a fast not really, hurting your body, fasting don't hurt your body, but how you break a fast can, and it has to be done carefully and correctly, I should say. Um, you basically you learn to take food for granted. There's when I fast, I notice every new fast food restaurant. I didn't know they had that right there. When they build that, or a 5 mile radius, I can tell you wherever Chick-fil-A or wherever whatever it is. I say, oh, it's right over there. Um, and oh, when you break a fast, oh, to me, it's so sad because it's like you're in the presence of the Lord, and you have to eat, and you got to leave Him. You got to leave that realm, that dimension. And I mean, a single saltine cracker, just when you eat it, it's just like a steak. It is. I don't know if it's the salt on the tongue that it just wants to melt a cracker. Throw them in the garbage. You know, um, you learn to appreciate food. We don't appreciate food. We just go eat and it's over, done, go on. When you really appreciate food, and the marriage supper of the Lamb, wow, can y'all imagine? I've eaten some wonderful dishes. I mean, this is before, but just so delicious. I mean, just incredible food. And that's man makes that. Think of what God can make, man. And he told me one day, he said, "Oh, we're gonna have breakfast too and lunch." He said, "It's not gonna be just the marriage supper. It's gonna be all of it." That excited me. But but anyway, um, yeah, I've actually cried. The first bite, just break down and cry, and it's just because where you've been is so rewarding, and you thank God, the Thanksgiving that He helped you through it. Um, breaking a fast, breaking a fast, and I don't want to leave y'all hungry, so we're gonna. I had a pen here. I'm gonna write this down so y'all. Anyway, the common way to break a fast is the BRAT diet, BART, and I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard of this. B, it's just an easy way to remember it. B is banana. Banana. Second one is rice. I got two. I got too many bananas up there. I'm hungry. Y'all just. All right, we'll do this. Bananas and rice. How about that? Okay. So we'll do a applesauce. And toast. And you're not going to eat much anyway. I mean, you think just bring it on, fill the table. Your stomach is shrunk at this point to where you're just going to eat uh, just a very little bit of it. These are easily digested foods. Um, you don't want to you know take in dairy, uh, anything carbonated, no fried or greasy foods. Um, and I mean, there's like 1 day of recovery for every 4 days of fasting, and you can get a lot of this on the you know internet. Um, but anyway, it's just a word of caution to when you do break a fast. That's kind of the rule of thumb to do, and it works great. Sometimes I'll do grits or scrambled eggs and toast. If I'm breaking it in the morning or whatever. Um, the enemy of fasting is not hunger; it's procrastination. You're gonna start Tuesday, then you're like, well, I'm supposed to have lunch with so Wednesday I can't. Thursday, oh, we're gonna have luncheon at work. I can't eat that. They're bringing free donuts, um, so it's just a point to where you just keep. Well, next week, we're gonna go with it. So I'm gonna I'm gonna give y'all the definition of procrastination. Okay, and I'm gonna give it to you in poem form. Okay, we'll end on this. Um, There the bride, bending over her cane, her steps uncertain needed guiding, while down the church aisle, with a wan, toothless smile, the groom in his wheelchair came gliding. Now who is this elderly couple thus wed? You'll see if you carefully explore it, that this is a rare, conservative pair who waited till they could afford it. They never got married. I'm not talking about Brother Bolenbacher now. Y'all don't. I asked him the other day, I said, Brother Bacher, you found you a wife yet? He went, oh, no, no. But I'm still looking. I said, okay, there you have it. There you have it. But anyway, I'm closing now. But I thought, on the heels of this lesson that we would, and I want to present this to this class, that we need